Hey everybody, this is Kite Altair here, and this is going to be a first of a series of videos that are going to be talking about formicariums, which are also known as ant farms. So, I'm actually starting to really enjoy the whole practice of making ant farms because, like, when you look at it online, it just seems really interesting how you can start off with just one single queen, and then over a period of weeks and months, it just multiplies from one queen to like hundreds or thousands, depending on the species of ant you have. So because of that, I decided that, hey, why don't I just make my own ant farm? You see plenty of different ant farms that other people make, such as the gel ones, or you have the ones that people make via aquarium tanks. And I decided that I'd make an enclosure, considering my living condition. Decided to make an enclosure of my own. Because one, it'll be really creative, very intellectually stimulating to just do it and just see what can I do, how can I make it, how can I improve it, and you get that gratification when you know that they're living in something that you personally made. So without further ado, I'm going to show you guys one of the ant farms that I have developed, as well as a sketch, because it's going to be an undeveloped product. What I actually show you, it was just something that I made so I can actually get a good idea, frame of reference of this is how I want it to look. And then I'll continue on with the sketches that are going to detail specifically how the formicarium is going to look and how it's going to operate. So with this video, is just going to show you just the details of how it's all getting started, and in future video series I'm going to show you guys how I develop it more and more as far as actually getting everything completely made, show you guys how I actually went about making my formicarium, as well as the grand finale when I start the series on actually getting my ants, and showing the initial development phase up into hopefully them being a thriving colony. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what I have, and we'll go from there. All right? Alrighty, guys. So this is the actual sketch that I have for my formicarium setup. As you can see, here's the sketch for it, and here's how it actually looks right now. So as you can see, this is basically how it's going to look overall, minus the tubing that you can see here. You can see the tubing here. So this has everything except the tubes. This is going to be for a carpenter ant colony. I just got some moss, some dried up moss, and I went ahead and just put that in there. If you look at the other side, you can see it a lot. Actually, no, you can't, because it's really mixed in, it seems. So this is just to replicate their natural habitat. This soil is actually local soil that I put in it. All I have to do is just get a Dremel, and then I'll just drill holes on the side of it over here, and then get the tubes in here. And once it all gets secured, then I'll be able to put the ants in here. And as you can see, I have my screws on all of them, and that's just to make sure that it's secured. I have some wood glue on here on all of the corners, as you can see here. Well, it's going to be difficult to see, but it does have the wood glue, and that keeps it very secure. I tried to actually break it before I put the screws in, and it was near impossible for me to do it. So this is how it physically looks, but here's the full complete idea sketch that I have. So of course, I made this formicarium for the stand version and not to the version that has it laying down, because it'll just take up a lot less space than if I laid it down. It'll be all over the place, have a high surface area. So for this, I'm going to have it, these are going to be caps that I'm going to have on the tubing, and I'm also going to I'm going to have it in 3 sections. This part is going to be the tube, just a normal average tube. So if I have to put anything extra in there, or if there's for some reason I have to isolate, if I have to isolate this specific formicarium and clean it, or if there's a fungus breakout, this will be used for that. Here, this is going to be the water tube. That's going to have tubing sleeves that'll have clamps on both sides. And what that does is make sure that the tubing cannot be fully inserted into the formicarium or fully taken out of it. And here's a sample of it right here. So how it is this portion right here that has no sleeves on it. This is going to be the portion that's going to be in between the wall. So one side will be the outside version, one will be inside the formicarium. And what this does is when you apply pressure to it, it resists it. That's why I have two of them. One of these straps, it was very good, but I'd rather two just for, extra security, because it's going, if everything goes well with this formicarium, it's going to be quite expansive. And in case it drops, I want it to be able to hold its weight. It took me using my full body weight, which is around 200 pounds, to get this off, because I have this cranked on using a flathead screwdriver. But I made sure it was tight enough to squeeze the sleeves, but not tight enough to constrict the actual inner portion, the tube itself. And I'm also, like I stated before, I'm also going to have a cap for it just to make sure that it stays secure. And, that'll just make sure that no ants can actually get out. So here's a sample right here. So if you just want to imagine this with these tubing sleeves, this will make sure that it can't be fully inserted or taken out. And this will just make sure that no ants that go into the tube can get out. I'll also have one of these straps on here just to make sure that it can't be accidentally taken off if it were to fall, or if, some weird thing happened where it was impacted. Okay. Another thing I'm going to have on the side this time is going to be a hygrometer line. And the hygrometer is basically a tool that is used to tell what the humidity is. The one that I specifically saw and am going to purchase actually has a temperature sensor as well as the humidity level. And how this will be checked is I'm going to have a stainless steel netting material to ensure it doesn't rust, sticking out 2 to 3 inches away from the tube itself. So if the tube goes in 1 inch, the netting will go out an extra 2 to 3 inches and will be secured with the straps that you saw on the sleeves. And what that does is allow the probe to fully insert into the formicarium and allow it to give an accurate reading on what the humidity and the temperature is. And to ensure that I get the most accurate reading possible, these air vents that I have right here are going to be sealed off temporarily with tape, so that once the air can only flow through this hygrometer line, and then of course the air will go through and go over and around the hygrometer probe, and that'll give me what the temperature as well as the humidity level for the entire formicarium. And if it comes to it needing being adjusted, I could do that by either having the heat lamp that's going to be outside, of course, shining its light in the formicarium, either have that closer or farther away from it, or I need to increase the airflow, or I may need to add more water. So those are the 3 ways that I'll be able to adjust the temperature as well as the humidity level. That's about it for this side. I'm also going to have silicone all throughout the edges. So then when I screw it in, as you can see here on the edges, I'm going to make sure that I have silicone throughout it. And that's just as as added protection to ensure that if any ants try to get out, that they wouldn't be able to get out, because these screws compact the plexiglass onto the wood itself, and then by having our silicone in between, that ensures that it is as secure as possible, because you have the plexiglass on both faces as well as the 4 inner walls of the enclosure itself. Okay, so that's about everything that I have. I'm going to set up part 2 probably sometime next week, but this is going to be my setup for the formicarium. So if you guys would actually like for me to post this sketch that I have for you guys to make one day whenever you have time, just let me know. And if I have enough people who would actually be interested, I'm more than willing to go ahead and just make another one, clean it up a lot. I'll probably type it if nothing else, but keep the picture itself. and just send it to you guys so you can have some ideas on how to make your Formicarium even better. Or if you guys have any improvements to make mine better, just let me know and we can set up dialogue. All right, guys. So this is Kite Altair with my first video and my series on my initial, finally getting into making a Formicarium, on my initial setup for my Formicarium. So please like, subscribe, share with your friends, and contact me if you would like to set up any kind of dialogue so that we can discuss ants, discuss Formicariums. All right, guys. See you later, and have a blessed day.